Okay, so we're talking about Alexander the Great here. I think this is 5G in your packet. But the first thing you gotta know about Alexander the Great is actually you gotta know who his dad was. So Philip II was the king of Macedonia. Remember Macedonia, if you look on your map in Greece, is kind of north of the city-states of Greece. It's kind of north of Athens, north of Sparta. He's going to assume the throne around 359 BCE. And he's going to do a couple things. The first thing he's going to do is kind of use his skill as a general to turn his people, his peasants, into a well-trained army. So he's going to institute kind of a cavalry, which means cavalry means soldiers on horses fighting. He's going to make the spears a little bit longer on the phalanx so that they can kind of strike the first blow in battle. And he's going to kind of make his phalanx a little more maneuverable, a little more easier to adapt in battle than some of the older Greek phalanxes. So he's going to use those things to turn his army into pretty much the best fighting force in Greece. He's going to go conquer the Greeks. The battle is going to be at Chaeronea. That's going to end Greek independence. So he's going to let kind of Athens, Thebes, some of these city-states kind of retain their own government. They can deal with their own local affairs as long as they pay tribute to Philip. And this kind of allows Philip to turn his sights to Persia. Actually, he wants to unite the Greek city-states, and he wants to go conquer Persia. Unfortunately, before he can do that, he's assassinated in 336 BCE, and his son Alexander the Great is going to come to power. He's going to be the new king, and he's going to kind of turn his sights towards conquering Persia. So he kind of secures Greece. He was actually tutored by Aristotle, who's the philosopher we talked about earlier, the last section of notes. So he's a smart guy. He's an excellent general. He knows how to maneuver his troops in battle, and he's kind of a brave fighter. So he goes and he tries to conquer Persia. So the first thing he's going to do, he's going to conquer Asia Minor, which on your map right here is this area here. He's going to conquer Asia Minor. He's going to go through the Middle East. He's going to conquer Egypt. He actually doesn't even have to do any fighting. Egypt knows they don't want to fight him because they'll probably lose. They name him a pharaoh. He's going to establish the city of Alexandria, which will become kind of a center of trade. There's a lot of important architecture there. There's a big library. So it's kind of a center of culture and trade. And we call this culture Hellenistic culture. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's basically kind of the fusion of Greek with kind of Egyptian, Persian, kind of this Middle Eastern. So kind of the fusion of all these different cultures to become kind of its own distinct thing. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So he's going to continue winning battles in Persia. He's eventually going to take over all of Persia. He's going to get all the way to the Indus River. And eventually, unfortunately for him, he's going to die. Some people think it was malaria. Some people think it might have been something else. Either way, he gets sick. He's unable to get better. He dies. His army is going to turn back for Greece, and the empire is going to fracture. So they had been conquering people for about 10 years, and eventually they just kind of get tired. They want to go back home, and the empire kind of fractures. So what's important about him? What's the significance? First of all, he built a huge empire. It's the biggest the world had seen to that point. And then kind of that Hellenistic culture, which we talked about, it leads to a blending of Greek. It leads to a blending of Greek with Egyptian, Persian. Some of these different cultures kind of blend together. Trade routes kind of spread this culture. We call it cultural diffusion when you kind of move from you kind of get aspects of other cultures through trade or through interaction with other people. You learn about different cultures, learn about other people. You kind of integrate that into your own system. And this will ultimately lay the groundwork for kind of the Roman Empire and kind of some of the stuff they do, but we'll worry about that next unit.